Radio. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Gordon Thomson. He's extremely intelligent, witty, and not afraid to express his opinion on just about any subject at all. So I hope you enjoy part 2.
The method of auditioning has absolutely altered. And it's all you put yourself on your iPhone, you use Skype. That's how Jared Leto got the part in Dallas Buyers Club.
Really?
He Skyped his reading.
Wow, that's amazing. I had no idea. No, that was a great movie. I just watched that, actually.
It was, I thought, brilliant. The writing and the acting and the direction, all absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And it was, I thought, when Leto got his Best Supporting Actor Oscar, he was graciousness itself. He overran his time. It didn't matter. He was eloquent and charming, and he was real. And when McConaughey got his, I thought, who do you think you are? The second coming? He was so arrogant. I want to thank God and my family and myself. Really? What about the screenwriter? What about the director? I mean, he lobbied for that award like a maniac. And it's a wonderful performance. But boy, he took half my pleasure away with his vast ego display.
Yeah, that was the general consensus amongst, well, you're going to hate this, but social media.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I suppose that's the useful thing about social media, that you want a sort of not just a canvass your friends. What did you think? What did you think? That's far too many emails or phone calls. If you tweet and you care about it, I guess you could find out. Except that so many of the tweets are negative anyway.
Yeah, I've learned to block those people out. Well, Lauren Koslow, who's on Days of Our Lives, told me that it's the closest thing that you can get to like a live theater reaction, where you can, get the viewers' reaction to them watching the episodes. You know that you're doing something right, or wrong.
Okay. That's a very generous way to look at it. Theater audiences are, by definition, anonymous. And most tweets, I gather, are anonymous. And the uglier they are, the more anonymous they're probably going to be. That's one sketch I enjoyed at the Academy Awards. I've forgotten who did it. But when he crawled through the television screen and confronted those two fat slobs who were tweeting unpleasant comments, I thought, that's good for you. I thought that was a very nice sort of riposte.
Kind of like the Muppet Show, a modern-day Muppet Show, the two grumpy guys in the balcony, but they're tweeting instead.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it's funny. There are people who actually create accounts just to, be negative, I think, to get attention from celebrities. It's really funny sometimes. Or sad, depending on how you look at it.
I find it intrusive, you see. That's what I find it very... It's as if, because a person is I hate the word celebrity, but that's a very convenient... I'm sorry to mean to diss your vocabulary.
Yeah, that's for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I hate being... You're the nicest celeb I've ever met. Oh, please. Come on. You want to... I'll say what I really like, okay? Stand back. No, it's because we either got lucky or whatever, and luck has, as you know, has 95% to do with any kind of quote-unquote celebrity or fame. It doesn't mean that we've stopped being human beings without feelings, We all eat and drink and have lives and moods and brains and sensitivities, and we're not, schmooze that you can smack around and we'll come up grinning every time. So I find it's very Republican. May I say that?
Yeah, you can.
I'm not American, but it's a lack of empathy is, I find, pretty ugly. My job demands empathy. It's what I've been trained to do and have been doing for over 50 years of my life. So I'm probably too aware of it. But I think that's one thing that's lacking in social media is empathy. That if you feel you're free to express the vitriolic response you have to whatever without being intelligent about it. You're crap. You're an asshole. Okay, that's fine. But please sign your name. Or how about, I thought that your delivery of that lacked whatever, a more nuanced or sensible or sensitive or, dare we say, intelligent response that's negative? Fine. That's critique. Other than that, you're just throwing mud at someone. Hence the phrase mudslinging? No, thank you. That is, and I'm, again, as somebody who grew up in the era of the Inquirer and all those rags, they did it almost with impunity. Because if you stood up and said, hold it, that's a lie, you would just engage them and they would get even more copy out of this stupid little squabble. So it's something I'm maybe also too sensitive about. I'm being very chatty Charlie today, aren't I?
That's great, though. Now, I noticed the Inquirer, though, they mislead you with the taglines on the cover, and then you actually read the article, like, a source said this could be true, but really probably isn't, or something like that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I remember one I saw. I have never bought it, ever. I really haven't. But you can't avoid it if you buy food in America today.
Or the Kardashians with
yeah, don't stop.
Oh, I know, right?
Don't stop me on that stupid, completely idiotic, sorry, maybe these are the nicest girls in the world. I doubt it. But North. Oh, wow. Northwest. What a great name. Stop, Gordon. Just stop.
Sorry.
My favorite
sorry. It was my bad for bringing that up.
So, again? I'm sorry.
That was my fault for bringing it up. But yes, I understand you can't avoid it at the grocery store. When you read the Inquirer, I did the same problem.
No, it's hideous. No, it was Camilla Parker Bowles. Now, what is she now? She's Prince Charles's wife. I've forgotten her title. Duchess of something. It's a picture, profile of her with screeching, obviously, the invective at somebody, and it's a big, nasty close-up. And the other side of the page is the Queen looking very kind of demure and 85. You're too old! Abdicate! Was the copy. I thought that was, sure, I'm sorry, what was the source for this? What did you, I should have bought it to find out. I'm sure it was like, sources indicate that.
Right, exactly.
You're too old, Andy. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I remember vaguely something about, this actually has to do with Dynasty. It was like co-stars, like Heather Locklear, so thin, Dynasty co-stars, something about an intervention or something like that. And Heather is the sweetest girl in the world. Come on. But because she's popular and gorgeous, and she's talented and successful, she's a target. Yeah, my mother taught me not to believe any of that stuff.
Your mother's a wise woman.
Yeah, but I was a kid. I could read really young, so I'd stand in the grocery line at 4, and I'd start reading the headlines out loud. She'd be so embarrassed. Mommy, what's that?
Mommy, what does sex mean?
Pretty much.
Mommy, what is adultery? How do you say adult what, Mommy?
You got it. So I knew about things that I didn't even really know about, like, television shows I never watched and all this stuff. And that's how I read about Joan Collins. See, that was one thing that was true, I guess, in the Inquirer, Joan Collins and Linda Evans not getting along.
Well, I have to say, Linda is much more circumspect than Joan. Joan is not I'm very fond of her, by the way. I really am. Looking forward to seeing her again for this English thing about 50 people we all love to hate. But they didn't get along. And I don't know why. I think Linda was loved with the big L by the cast, crew, fans, everybody, because she was this absolutely beautiful woman inside and out. And Joan would never claim to be an angel. And Linda was the blonde, and they protected her far more than they protected Joan. Whenever they hired a new pretty brunette on the show, Joan would kind of bristle, because she was the brunette queen of the hill. And It never bothered Linda, as far as I know. I'm sure it didn't. But it bothered Joan. And a bit like Forsyth, Joan was very kind of protective of her status. And she, at last, became, as I said before, this huge star. Not a movie star, but a TV star. But the big star she'd always yearned to be. Ambitious, talented. She wasn't, Vanessa Redgrave, but she's a good actor, is Joan. And she took that part by the teeth, and she really did a wonderful job on it. But when she and Linda did the tour of the play they did together, I've forgotten what it was called. And Linda had never been on stage before, and Joan was very kind of dismissive about Linda's, her newness in the theater. Joan's done theater all her life. And she kept a diary of their tour and her impressions of Linda. And she sold it to a tabloid in England, which I think you know. And that's the only time she's ever disappointed me. Joan's a great hostess. She is very funny. She's great company. And she has more energy than anybody I know, practically. But that's the one time I thought, no. You don't do that to a peer. You just don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I always wondered, though, if some of these people in the tabloids purposely want to be, because you see some really big name actors who just aren't in the tabloids. And I would think that if you really don't want to be, you can avoid it.
I think it depends on what made you famous.
Good point.
Really. I mean, if you are Alec Guinness, who cares? Really. All you are is a brilliant, versatile actor who became a movie star. But if you are Joan, who dying to be a movie star and became a star on a medium that everybody has access to by the millions around the world, you don't have to pay to see her. She's on your TV, which is basically for nothing. You don't have to pay $10 to see a show. So therefore, the medium is infinitely cheaper than film and cheaper than than theater. You pay a fortune to go to the theater these days, by and large. So that makes what you're watching just that much more, good Gordon, just that much more recherché and rarefied and all that stuff. So they command more respect because of the medium they're working in and that they became famous in. I mean, Ethel Merman, huge Broadway star, but not a big movie star. Nobody would care about Ethel Merman's love life or whatever it was she got up to. But in these days, the same deal. I mean, Jude Law, very handsome, wonderful actor, theater, films, television, but because he leads his life in England, which is, I think, probably, it's the smuttiest English-speaking country in the world, but it's also circumspect to a degree when it comes to their theatrical royalty. I don't think you'd see Vanessa Redgrave or Lynn Redgrave splattered all over the news of the world, for instance, or whatever Rupert Murdoch's that little slimy rag is called these days. No, really, it's awful. But it all depends on what you're famous for. As the Kardashians is a great example. What have they done for the world at all except to enthrall and appall at the same time?
Yeah, I wonder that myself. And it's like they're rich and famous for being rich and famous.
Yes. Reality TV is an anomalous statement. Is it a documentary? No. It brings a camera into somebody's house, and let's all pretend that this is how we actually live.
Oh, it's all editing. You have a certain number of hours of footage. You can edit anybody to be the bitch or this person be the nice one. That's all it is, I think.
Oh, I think you're right. Of course you're right. I think also in the early days of film, well, not, in fact, probably until fairly recently, editing could create an Academy Award-winning performance.
That's true. I would think nowadays even more so.
Yes, if you shoot enough. Except that's the beauty of a small budget independent picture, like Dallas Buyers Club. They had no money. I think it was turned down. I read this somewhere. Was it 17 times?
Wow.
People kept saying no, 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 because of the subject matter, I suppose.
Really?
And I don't think McConaughey was involved. I'm not sure when he was taken on board. But that's a great example of a really good movie that editing could not save. It could certainly help, but they couldn't turn something really shitty into a movie that good.
That's true. I mean, if you don't have something good to start with, then
Yeah. I'm thinking of actors like Charlton Heston.
Who you worked with.
I didn't work with him. I did the Colbys on days he worked, and I remember, and if I've told you this, I apologize, I'm going to say it again. He had a scene following one between John James and myself, and our scene was a verbal fight, because the characters hated each other, and Adam was particularly unpleasant, and it was loud. And he came up to me behind the back of the set, just as I came off and finished the scene. Yes, when in doubt, we all shout, don't we? And I thought, you pompous asshole.
I don't think you told me that one before. I would have remembered.
No, I'm good. I'm glad I'm not boring with it. Because he said that, and I thought, good God. And that's the minute he became Chuckles to me.
I bet you didn't tell him that, though.
No. I never spoke to him again. I just thought, no, and no. And then I read, there's a very good book by Frank Langella, I recommend almost without reservation, called Dropped Names, Dropped. With one exception, everybody he talks about has died. Elizabeth Taylor's in there, Alan Bates is in there. Anyway, they're all, I think Heston's in there. And he describes Heston at a sort of big toasting laudatory gala for Laurence Olivier, who at that time was Laurent Olivier. And by many lights at the time, I think opinions have changed a bit. But regardless, the man was one of the greatest actors of his time. And Chuckles got up and decided to make his speech. And he made his speech as if he and Sir Lawrence were peers, but they're just, two actors and I'll be fabulous. And he had a hideous habit of being Moses or being God, being one of those parts he played. Sort of like the weather I'm giving you today, things like that. And he was sort of quasi being funny, but he really wanted to be reminded that he actually was God. Mm-hmm. This is a man who is so deluded that and so untalented. He had a jawline, and that was about it. That I could stop now, shouldn't I? I think I'll stop about Charlton now. Chuckles. My fave. Anyway, Dropped Names, Frank Langella. Really good book.
I'll have to check that out for sure.
Please do.
Well, Gordon, it's been great talking with you, and my cat is trying to get on the air.
Did somebody send you a tweet about that?
No, I'm not on Twitter.
That's your cat's peeing on the backing up and shaking his little butt against something?
No, she's meowing at the door loudly. I'm surprised you couldn't hear her.
Oh, it's a she.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not shaking her little butt against the curtains, as tomcats like to do. She's saying, let me out, you asshole. I want to go and pee. Fair enough.
Well, now is the 50 most popular villains or whatever in England, will that be available to watch in the United States online or?
I'm not sure. When I do it, which I'm doing next month. Oh, this is not April Fool's, by the way, just in case you were wondering. This is
right.
You might still be a little sort of confused, Rob, because I was quite taken aback. April the 1st, Monday? No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
anyway,
I know.
I'm being so mean. I don't apologize. It's kind of fun, actually.
That was my problem when I do too many things at once. I glance at a calendar and type, oh, whoops.
Take a deep breath. Always take a deep breath. It helps. Breathing really does help, I promise. Anyway, I will find out about this. I'm doing it the week of the 14th of April, and if I find anything else out, I'll certainly let Michael know, and if I can't get hold of you, he can. But I can reach you, I think. Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
That's great. I'd love to see it. And, I'd love you to be on Hot in Cleveland or any other show. I think any show would be crazy not to take you,
What a nice thing to say. Thank you. Thank you.
And you're such a great guy. I love listening to your stories, and I will have to check out the show you recommended, House of Cards, in the book.
Yeah, please do.
Dropping Names, was it?
Dropped Names.
Dropped Names, okay.
Frank Langella, who just gave us the world his King Lear in New York, apparently, to great success. He's, again, a really good working actor. And he is also a very good writer, too. Really good writer.
Well, I always love to get book recommendations, so I thank you very much. I look forward to talking with you again.
I hope so, too, Rob. Thank you. I had a good time.
Okay.
You're very patient.
Oh, no.
Thank you for your patience.
We have a great night, Gordon.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to my two-part conversation with Gordon Thomson. Please visit rad-radio.net, where you can listen to any episodes of the show. Also, you can like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Rad1Radio. Follow the show on Twitter at Rad1Radio. And I'm your host, Rob Anthony Dyer, and I thank you for listening. This is Rad1 Radio.